Whether you're hitting the road or kicking back in the cab, it's time to take a load off with Big Rig Banter. Powered by alltruckjobs.com, your source for finding the trucking jobs drivers really want. Get ready to shift into gear and let the conversations roll.
All right, hello and welcome, truckers. The date is December 4th, and you're listening to the 43rd episode of Big Rig Banter. I'm your co-host, Troy Diffenderfer.
And I'm your favorite co-host, Lenay Rule.
Lenay, how are you doing today?
Troy, I'm pretty good. Getting excited for some time off around the holidays. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I may have made a little mistake this weekend.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, as you know, we're in the process of buying a house. We officially pretty much bought it. We have a couple details to go through, but for all intents and purposes, we did buy the house. But I made the mistake. We were over at my grandparents' house, just kind of talking, and so we'll officially close on the house December 20th, 5 days before Christmas.
Right. That's stressful.
And then I made the mistake of suggesting that we would host Christmas on Christmas at our house that we only will have moved in 5 days before then.
So how did Lydia react to that?
I made it a point not to look at her when she whipped her head around and glared at me. I just kind of smiled and told my wonderful grandpa that he's welcome at our place for Christmas, but she was not happy when we got back in the car, to say the least.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, who wants to have people over when you just move into a brand new house?
Yeah, but won't that be, like, awesome to have your very first Christmas in this new house? We'll have all our friends and family there.
Troy, are you prepared to cook a full meal for all these people and move all of the furniture into the house, have the entire place decorated, cleaned, and ready to go in 5 days?
I mean, I feel like as long as the kitchen is moved in, then
Troy.
that's all we need.
You don't understand. When you move into a new house, you know, and you dream of this moment, like your first house, you want it all set up. You want to be able to, like, show your family how great it looks and, you know, brag about it. Not, here's all our boxes piled in the hallway. Don't mind those.
Well, I feel like I was going to invite you to our Christmas dinner, but seeing your attitude now,
I think I'll steer clear of Lydia on that day. As I tell you all the time, Troy, I have dumped people over less. So
I know.
You really need to consider Lydia's feelings before you invite your family.
She does put up with a lot, and I'll definitely keep you updated on the situation. I'm confident it's going to go smoothly, whatever the outcome is.
So Christmas is officially at your house. So what's the
that's
plan?
To
You're going
be
to get
determined. We'll see.
Fried chicken from the gas station and serve it on paper plates. Is that Christmas dinner?
I think it's
Troy's
more
house?
about the family than the actual dinner, but we'll we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
You don't know my family. I show up for the food.
All right. But truckers, what do you think? If you invited your whole family over without giving your significant other a heads up for Christmas, how would they react? Let us know using the hashtag BigRigBanter. We definitely want to hear some of your hopefully cheerful holiday stories. That's for sure. But let's jump right into things. Lenay's actually taking the lead on this episode, so let's hear what she has to say.
All right, so I'm pretty excited to get started. I brought two of my relatives onto the show today who are actually truck drivers, and we're going to chat about CB radios and how they've changed over the years. So let's first hear from my cousin Dennis. All right, Dennis, how are you today?
Doing good. How you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
So just for our listeners, why don't you give them a little background on how long you've been a truck driver and what kind of freight you haul and all that stuff?
I've been driving for 43 years. I've been in the business for 43 years. I recently retired about, May when the license came due. I didn't renew my license, and that's when I stopped driving. So bought my first truck when I was 23 years old. Had as many as four on the road with drivers. Just the last 20 years, it's just one truck, my own, by myself. So I got about 2.7 million miles on the road over my lifetime.
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
mostly dry box, 53-foot dry box.
Okay, cool. So today we're going to talk about CB radios, and I'm sure in all that time you've seen the use of CB radios change over the years.
Well, I actually started out, yeah, it wasn't not a lot of people. Well, yeah, pretty much they had them. They had them from the day one, I guess, because we used to play with them when we were in high school with her in our pickup trucks. before I got into trucking, and then
Yeah.
I moved into the truck.
So I guess we kind of talked about this earlier, but what are some reasons that drivers are not using the CB radio as much?
I would guess the biggest reason is a cell phone.
Right.
It's you can reach out farther. You can, there's no CB is limited to the length of mile or two on a normal radio. It's not turned up. Where cell phone you can anytime, anywhere, pretty much.
Right. So before cell phones, I guess the CB radio was kind of like your only way to talk to people or get entertainment, other than the radio.
Yeah, and the radio was even a problem back then because every 50 miles you ran out of the station, so you had to find another station. So the CB radio, if you could find a bunch of guys that a lot more guys talked on the radio back then, and everybody seemed to have them. And if something happened, you could get information down the road. What was coming ahead of you? If you seen a friend or something, you could say hi. And you could, when you're running with somebody, you could talk back and forth to each other. You didn't have cell phones back then, so CB radio was great for that. Being able to run in a group of guys and be able to chat and talk and keep each other awake and stuff like that.
Right. So now with cell phones, I mean, people are using their radios less, but what are some reasons to keep the radio, I guess?
Well, the radio, a lot of guys still run them and still use them. The biggest thing is if you're passing a guy in the truck and you notice something wrong with his truck that he's not aware of, maybe his side glove box door is open, he didn't close it right.
Right.
And now he's driving down the road and it's flapping open. You can see the stuff inside getting ready to fall out. So you could a lot of times you have to toot your horn because like I used to run with this thing called squelch, is what you turn back to only hear people that are right near you. Or you can turn it all the way up and you can hear people farther away. So if the guy doesn't answer, you can just toot your horn at him and then show him your CB mic, and then he'll turn his on, and then you can tell him what's wrong with what's going on with his truck without it having to do all kinds of hand gestures and stuff, and he'll probably not understand what you're saying.
Right.
And then a lot of the factories or companies used to use them for dispatch of a docking system. Like if you were waiting to get in the dock, they would call you on the CB and tell you what door to go to when it was available, and then they would also tell you when you were done being loaded to come on and get your paperwork. And the problem with that they do it if you're trying to sleep while you're being loaded, then they're calling other guys and it's waking you up, and you can't turn it off because then you'll miss your call.
Right.
So the cell phone eliminated all that too. Now they just call your cell phone.
Yeah, that's true. What was your CB handle?
Mine was Red Fox.
Why?
I don't really know why. I got a radio and I went on it, and somebody asked me what my handle was, and it was like Red Fox, and that was it for 40 some years.
Do you think that as technology, is changing a lot with the trucking industry, do you think that the CB radio will eventually die off? I mean, that people won't use them anymore?
It has really died off. A lot of people don't have them in their trucks anymore, but die off completely, I don't know if it would ever do that. No, eventually it will, because there won't be any drivers in the trucks if you listen to what self-driving trucks are going to come out. If there's nobody in the truck, I'm sure there's not going to be a need for a CB, but it died off drastically. The last probably 5 years, I didn't even have a CB in my truck.
All right, and once again, that was my cousin Dennis, and he talked a lot about how the CB radios are changing over the years, but now we'll switch over to my interview with my cousin Joe, and he brought up a lot of really good points about what you should or shouldn't do on the CB radio, as well as how the social aspect of trucking has changed over the years. Joe's been a truck driver since 1985. Let's hear from Joe. Joe, how are you today?
Very good.
Good. Thanks for coming on the show for me. So when we first wanted to do this episode, before we realized that, a lot of people aren't really on the CB radio anymore and stuff, we were talking about, etiquette on when you get on your CB. So what are some things you shouldn't or shouldn't say when you're on the radio?
Well, according to the rule book,
Right.
or on CB radios, it is illegal to swear on the CB radio.
Oh, really?
But, yes. But guys get on there and just go at it all the time, and I try and stay away from that, because I'm thinking, what if some driver has his kid along, or if there's
Right.
CB radio in the family car and they're going somewhere, this trucker's driving his family somewhere. And you hear these guys trash talking on the CB. Of course, you just turn it off, but I try not to do that, at all. So I just think it's a good etiquette to talk like you would be talking to your mom or something. Sometimes they get on there and say, "Hey, you talk to your mom with that same mouth?" Then they say, "My mom's dead." So I don't know what to say then. So.
I kind of get the feeling, and I don't know, maybe, I'm not a truck driver, but that you're kind of a close-knit community. You probably do pass the same trucks, especially if you've been on the road for a long time. Do you feel like the ELDs and like all the regulations where you have to stick to driving within a certain amount of time and everything, that impacts like how much of the social interaction you get at truck stops and like when you pull off and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because before you could stop, if you've seen somebody, you're coming out of a diner and somebody's coming in that you could stand there and talk for a half an hour, 40 minutes, and fudge your logbook to make it fit, make it work right. Where now you can't do that because you're on the clock. The clock is like a stopwatch, and once your day starts, you got only so many hours to go trucking.
Sure.
And it took that aspect away of socializing with other truckers. You stop somewhere to eat, get in there, eat, get back in the truck and get going. The only time was when you're taking your 10-hour break, you're 10 hours off, then you can, if you run into somebody, then you can talk to them, but they might not be all on their break,
right?
Their 10-hour break.
What's some advice you would give to a new person starting out in the trucking industry as it is today? Because I know it has changed a lot, and maybe people have a false impression of what that's like.
What advice? The best advice would be you better be single.
Why do you say that?
Well, unless you have the right woman.
Yeah.
I got the right wife, so she can take care of household things and mowing the grass, take care of everything at home while I'm out on the road. I mean, usually leave Monday, don't get back till Friday or Saturday, and I work about 6 weekends out of the year where I'll stay out the whole weekend.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other jobs where you're home every night then too, but you're not going to make as much money as you are if you stay out on the road longer. That's
right.
That's where the better money is for the most part. I mean, there might be a few jobs here and there where you can run short. You get a pension and all that too. So there's a lot of different jobs out there. So if you want to go over the road, you either better have the right wife or be single.
All right, and once again, that was Joe. Thanks to Joe for coming on the show and for adding that little bit of advice there for anyone who's considering getting into the trucking industry.
And once again, a big thanks to both your cousins, Lenay. It's crazy you have two cousins that are both truckers that you were able to get on the show and provide all this really cool information and insight into the industry and these CB radios.
Yeah, I have lots of truck drivers in my family, so it was fun to get them on the air. We'll have to bring them back again soon.
And once again, listeners, please leave us a review when you have a chance on any platform you're using, whether it's Apple Podcasts or any other listening outlet. We really appreciate all the reviews and feedback that you can provide.
And for anyone listening for the first time, this podcast is powered by alltruckjobs.com, which is an online job board that allows you to find trucking jobs in all 50 states. If you're interested in sponsoring this content, there are opportunities for you to get some airtime, so reach out to us on our website.
All right, and once again, thank you, truckers. I'm your co-host, Troy Diffenderfer.
And I'm your favorite co-host, Lenay Rule.
And this has been Big Rig Banter.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Big Rig Banter. For your next job, check out alltruckjobs.com, the premier online source for finding the best driver jobs in the country. Browse hundreds of positions by freight or driver type to get back on the road with confidence. Click subscribe to keep the conversations coming. Until next time on Big Rig Banter.